But alas, we're going to get these bans underway. Obviously, Immortals is going to be taking up the blue side, red side being taken up by Gloria Waits Us, and looks like it's going to be a Max right off the start.
All right, we've talked about Max a lot. It's been a little rough because not a lot of teams have been able to utilize him as best as they would want. Sometimes it almost feels that they're kind of forced into picking him just because he's available and you know he's so strong. But I think for Immortals, again, it's a good shot, right? Because just in case, what if Gloria Waits us, they've been practicing the Max? That's not something you want to deal with and have to change your game plan.
It's not indeed. The L'Oreal ban is going to be coming away from Gloria Waits us. Another concept to think about when you consider the Max ban, there's no Xennial for the counter. So there isn't a hard counter for Max right now in North America. So just take him away. Don't worry about him. Ryoma being the next ban. We've seen a lot of Ryoma prioritization in North America as well. Super aggressive junglers. Aggression is the main, nomenclature for everything North America right now. So taking those, aggressive junglers like Ryoma off the table makes it a little bit easier.
Yeah, and a hero like Ryoma, a little bit safe among that aggression as well because of the range on his abilities. Teamy coming out, no big surprise, right? Teamy's kind of been at the top of the list, whether he's picked or banned, or even if he's left behind, it's more because maybe there were some other bans that kind of slipped through. But Teamy just has so much utility, and again, it's about those ultimates that single-handedly can change an entire fight.
It is. Liliana is going to be the final ban for the side of Immortals. They don't have to want to worry about him. So now you start to think about yourself some options, and there aren't any options because you listened. Thank you. Gloria Waits us. Thank you. So Superman's off the table.
Yes, wise
obviously,
choice.
The blue side pick now is going to be for the side of Immortals. You've got Wonder Woman available. Lumbar, we've seen the support of Lumbar. But seeing as what they've got in this instance, I wouldn't be surprised if we see a first pick mage lock in for the side of Immortals.
Yeah, I mean, we have two strong mages banned out, one from each side. So obviously that leaves a couple strong ones. Tulin comes to mind kind of as one of those top picks. But like you talked about, then you're probably giving up both Wonder Woman and Lumber, or Lumber and Lubu as a combo. But if you're confident in your mage, that's what it's going to be. It's going to be a Tulin lock-in for Immortals, and we'll see how they react to the double pick from Gloria Waits us.
Yeah, with Liliana and L'Oreal off the board, Tulin becomes a very safe bet. Obviously, Kali you can decide to go with, but you want to get your mid laner in a very advantageous position. Tulin does that for you, but as a result, it's going to almost force the Wonder Woman pick. She's too strong right now to be able to take that away, and Violet, someone we passed over.
Yeah, Violet slips through. I think that's a safe pick, right? Both Wonder Woman and Violet just known to be strong. However, I'm going to start to be a little concerned because, like you mentioned, if Tulin's kind of the last remaining super mobile mage, you're going to want to lock him down. And right now, Gloria Waits us is starting to give that away. We see Ormar and Lubu taken away by Immortals. That's a lot of frontline aggression that Immortals now has.
Yep, trying to get onto that backline of the Violet. It needs to be done. And so as a result, Lumbar, as well as the split-pushing Omen, is going to get locked in here for Gloria Waits us.
Yeah, I like the Lumber Wonder Woman combo coming in from Gloria Waits us. It's going to allow them to counter-initiate more than anything. They can still go for picks as well, even Lumber's ult because of the low cooldown. It's pretty wise to use it as picks if you see one coming. Ooh, and then we're going to see that Cricknack coming out once again for Immortals.
So Cricknack was picked in Game 2 of the Week 1 finals. He was obviously jungled by KZ Fox on Immortals, and this is where things are potentially scary because he had, I believe he went something like 11-0-7 or something along those lines. It was an unbelievable stat line.
Yeah, and this is just 4 frontliners that want to jump in on the side of Immortals, and then you have Tulin sitting back. So for Gloria Waits us, you got to be ready for the counter initiate. I don't think you want to dive in necessarily unless you get picks because Immortals, they have to jump in. They can't possibly fight without jumping in.
The other difficulty that Gloria Waits is going to face is how are they going to be able to handle the early game aggression that Immortals is going to create. Cricknack obviously has a lot of early game jungle prowess. Lubu with the roam. Yeah. There's a lot of weapons at this Immortals disposal.
Yeah, and Zuka too for the lockup. I mean, there's a lot of single target damage, but also like semi AoE, just small area crowd control from multiple heroes coming in for Immortals. Like you said, early jungle, if you don't watch out, Immortals could just run away with the game in the first 5 to 6 minutes.
Lots of snowballing potential, but let's go ahead and take a look at what Twitch chat has decided. The pick ban phase has ended. Our Twitch voting has given ourselves a little piece of opportunity. So those of you in Twitch chat, I wonder what you have decided to have.
It's got to be Immortals.
No? I mean, we did see over in EU, oh, yeah, there we go. All right.
But I'm happy to see some numbers for Gloria Waits us. I think, again, I mean, they made it up to here.
There's
and also
some
the
believers. There are some small town believers in there. But Guys, we're not going to keep you waiting any longer. We have game number 1 of the first quarterfinal for the North American bracket. It's going to be Immortals taking on Gloria Waits us.
All right, we'll see how aggressive Immortal wants to play this first, the first couple minutes going into this game. Again, we talked about Gloria Waits has to watch out, and especially early on, they got to make sure that they're keeping vision but also keeping safe distance. We've seen Lumber often used kind of as a defensive roam, just blocking anyone from coming in. He's pretty tanky. He's got a lot of crowd control. We see that on the minimap right now as well. And so just blocking anyone from disrupting that Violet. But Immortals aren't giving up. There's 2 sides to each jungle, and they're starting to go towards the top side, the might buff side for Gloria Waits us.
The early aggression was something that we talked about during the pick ban phase, and it is also right down the alley of the Immortals play style. KZ Fox, Beg, and 80s Hero obviously going to get themselves a roam. KZ Fox not only takes away the might buff, but takes away a little bit of the top side of the jungle for the side of Gloria Waits. This is now, like we said, Immortals is on the blue, Gloria Waits us on the red, and the Immortals, or rather, Gloria Waits is really going to have to find a way to stop this early aggression if they want a chance to make it out of the first 5 minutes.
Yeah, they're already on the clock for finding solutions because of that early aggression. Immortals tried to check both sides. They decided that Lumber was on the bottom side, so they rotated the top. They got a successful invade. They made sure that experience was still being split across, and they're not losing out on anything despite the back from X tiers up in the top lane for that Lubu. And now Kriknak can just kind of casually roam through the rest of the jungle, which also gave the Zuka, played by Bobo, time to farm up a little bit and make sure that he's keeping up and maybe even staying ahead in that lane against Omen.
I also like the decision by Gloria Waits to put Punish on 9/11, so that way not only are they capable of having a couple extra Spirit Sentinel, grabs, but they have the double punish if they decide to go for a big neutral monster, later on in the game.
Yeah, it's a smart pickup for sure compared to the team composition we're seeing on Immortals. Immortals are just hanging out in enemy territory. They're not even caring about any other plays. We see the Kriknak jumping in.
Going to be able to, Bay is going to be finding himself off a little bit too far than what he wants. And just like that, 80s Hero is going to be able to take him down. And it seemed almost like clockwork for the side of Immortals. They timed the Sage Golem correctly. They are able to get themselves a nice little invade in, steal the Sage Golem away, and it could be a simple, easy rotate over to the Abyssal next.
Yeah, and these may seem like just, oh, it's 1 invade, it's 2 invade, oh, you lost a buff, oh well, but that's not it. It starts to add up really quickly again because these heroes on the Immortal side, they thrive off of keeping the momentum, right? They thrive off of constantly invading. If you don't get a kill, you're getting an objective. They just got that dragon, but X tiers might be in some trouble.
Jungle 20C is going to try to see if he can get himself off a little bit of extra damage on it. Don't know if they want to dive. Oh, they do decide to be able to get it off. Nice little lasso to be able to finish the kill. And so X tiers is going to go down. Now 9/11 will secure himself that assist as Yungyam for the Preda is going to be able to pick up that nice kill.
All right, well, we do see Immortals continue to stay ahead a little bit. And we'll see how this plays out. I mean, I have to say the clock's already ticking quite a bit for Gloria Waits us. We saw this earlier as well, but when you're going for a little bit more, take the time to set up the fight type of composition, which Preda kind of excels at because of that long-range ability, you gotta make sure that you're not getting pushed too far back, because at that point, those abilities aren't great for defense. They're great for either maintaining a stalemate or pushing forward.
And so now we're at the 4-minute mark. Immortals is up a hearty 1,000 gold, and they're going to be more as Bay is going to get caught out immediately going down to Beg. And here we are talking about the timings that Immortals has, their early aggression coming in very strong. Jungle 20cc, as well as you, is going to have to be forced to walk away. Sage buff is theirs, denied again from Gloria Waits us.
Yeah, one thing I want to point out is despite the kind of, I guess, amount of movement we're seeing in the enemy territory, the score, the kill score is only 2-1, so it's not high numbers. Part of that is props to Gloria Waits. They're not overcommitting to try to counter-initiate. They know when they've lost it, they sacrifice a kill, and they run away. There's a little bit of a fight at the Spirit Sentinel. Oh, 911 trying to go through with the lasso.
He's going to be able to try to get himself off just enough. The lasso helping out, but in the meanwhile, KZ Fox and Beg are going to invade the jungle again. Unfortunately, Bay hasn't been able to do much. Look at that. KZ Fox, all confidence all the time.
Yeah, just jumps in, knows he has an escape, knows there's teammates nearby. I mean, you look at the map, they seem to be so aware of each other's positions. Gloria Waits is trying to keep up on their roams, and they've been pretty good about it, but it's Immortals clearly who set the pace. If you keep an eye on the mini-map, you're going to see which circles start to move first, and then the other team starts to follow and converge on that position. And right now, we are seeing Beg. He loves to sit in that kind of brush right next to the mid lane. Does get spotted, though.
The immense counter jungling that Immortals have been able to do actually has Bay sitting at level 5, lower than any other member on the team. And with the XP disadvantage, it's not creating a great situation for them as KZ Fox and Beg are again lurking themselves through. The Ormar Cricknack combination is just way too powerful for GAU to handle right now. And here we are, just like clockwork. The Sage Golem's up, number 3. 3 members of Immortals are there waiting in the wayside. It's going to end up going over to 80's hero, so he's going to be able to have that nice little cooldown reduction on that Tulin.
Yeah, Gloria Waits just hasn't had control over any of these objectives, be it the small ones for the buffs within each team's own jungle, or the larger ones coming out in the middle of the map. So Immortals is starting to slowly run away. Not too fast, it's only 2K, but we're also only 6 minutes in. This is also where we start to see, with that lead, some of these tier 3 items start to come out. The Mantle of Ra has been completed on Lubu, the rank breakers completed on the Zuka. So both of them are going to be much more confident going into fights they have no right being involved in.
And we've seen the Immortals' rotational prowess come through again and again. Every time that one of the major buffs, one of the major pieces of the jungle is up for Gloria Waits, things are happening in the favor of Immortals, and it's slowly starving out. Bay is still level 5, hasn't yet got to that level 6 as the rest of his team is level 8, but a nice little rebuttal there by Gloria Waits as they're able to get themselves that mid-turn. Jungle 20C is able to take down Bobo. Cricknack on KZ Fox is able to die as well. So just as we were talking about the prowess of Immortals in the jungle, objective control goes in favor of GAU.
Yeah, GAU was really smart about the fact that they realized Immortals was once again focusing a little bit too much on the top side of the map. So they said, this is our time. We're going to pull all of our resources from the bottom and go back towards the top side, or towards the middle rather, converge. They get a tower and they get a kill. They're tying up. They're still a little bit behind in goal, but that's really because of the dragons. If GAU can get another tower, as we're looking at CLZ doing, they might be able to try to catch up.
The Omen tower-taking ability is absolutely unbelievable, as now Beg finds himself a little bit too far underneath the turret. He's going to get knocked up, but a nice little bit of a stun. CLZ is going to be able to come back in as well, but it's going to be a little disengaged there from the Immortals as they're going to lick their wounds. They're going to have to start to be careful because this tower control of Gloria Waits is actually going quite in their favor.
Yeah, GAU can't get too happy just yet. They're still quite a bit behind, and it's easy to forget when you're playing the game, or even when you're watching and you're not able to kind of keep track of the entire map, is that it wasn't just the large objectives that Immortals had. It's fights like these where they get a single kill. It's when they go in and steal one buff, but that repeats 5 times.
IMT is going to end up picking up that kill onto 9-11. It goes into the pockets of 80's hero, and now Jungle 20C is able to get himself a nice kill. The Violet, we didn't really talk about it too much, somehow falling through the cracks of the pick ban. And we all know the strength that she has been providing recently in the jungle.
Yeah, and it's a little baffling almost. Immortals seems so set on finishing kills that they're not able to really prioritize their focus fire, and they're also getting a little blinded by the bloodthirst they're having on the number of kills. They could have just gotten out after the single kill on the Wonder Woman and maybe traded 1 for 1, but at worst it'd be a 1 for 1. They try to commit to the Violet, and it's too much.
Yeah, they've been also trying so hard to get kills and be this little bloodthirsty crew. Obviously, Cricknack, needs those kills, needs those resources to help himself out. But look at what they've lost in the process. They're down 3 towers to 1. Yeah, sure, they're up about 700 gold, but the map pressure is severely in Gloria Waits' control.
Yeah, Immortals does need to focus a little bit on the map control once again. Now they lost the timing for the Abyssal Dragon. Gloria Waits should be able to take this pretty handily. There we go. They secure it for their team, and now they're getting caught up. Of course, this does mean that should Immortals get the map presence back and take down the outer towers, they'll be back in the lead for sure.
They are, but they're only up about 100 gold as the first big team fight has yet to happen.
Whoa.
Gloria Waits is doing a pretty good job at keeping themselves, but that Preda,
it's doing a lot of damage. I mean, Preda, if you don't pay attention to that positioning, you are going to get just slammed by the charge on that skill shot, and that Wraith is going to really melt down so that you don't have an opportunity to dive. It might not, always get the kill, but if you're out of the fight, if you have to go back, you have to heal, that's going to be dangerous. 80's hero does blink out, but gets knocked up.
Oh, the lasso misses just enough, but Preda is on the backside, going to be able to try to flicker. Not enough damage to have it, but Beg in the meanwhile is going to do everything he can, but Ormar is going to go down. That Viking Santa Claus is not going to be delivering presents today, as KZ Fox is going to have to be forced to jump around as well. And just like that, the all-powerful Immortals are starting to show some cracks.
Yeah, but really good play coming out from both teams on that fight as CLZ gets caught trying to go back to his lane, is that Gloria Waits us really just turned targets immediately when they needed to. Preda had the chance to follow a little bit further, couldn't secure it, and came back to finish the kill. And Immortals also, Bobo came back to the lane, but just identified that it was too late to join the fight and made sure that they at least stayed back and didn't give extra free kills to the side of Gloria Waits us.
Although I do thoroughly enjoy the combined effort of Gloria Waits us. Every time they make a move, it's as 4 or 5 as a team. They're not going to get themselves caught out in these little skirmishes because they know that mechanical strength is what Immortals have at their disposal.
Yeah, and Gloria Waits us. Ooh, the Preda gets caught out. That's going to hurt a little bit. I mean, sure, you still have the Violet to do damage, but even Violet goes down a little too early going to the lane on her own.
80's hero is still left alive to be able to do all the pieces of damage that he wants. 911 is going to go down to Beg, and just like that, the Immortals strike back. They secure themselves a very fast turret, and with a new minion wave here up and available, there is an opportunity for them to be able to get themselves another.
Yeah, Gloria Waits us just had to keep that window open for just a bit longer to try to get a lead, but Immortals squeezed through in the last minute, got some kills, and now they're trying to pressure this high ground tower. They're going to take it.
3 towers
Wow.
off of 2 kills. Not only did they have the massive amount of AD on their team to be able to do it, but with the big frontliners, specifically in 9/11, Gloria Waits has had no way of stopping them, and now that even 100 gold difference has now swung to a 3,000 gold advantage in favor of Immortals.
Yeah, GAU is going to have to try to play a little passive and try to just assess the situation once again. Vilo's starting to do some damage. I mean, we see, of course, the Ramp Rain and the Soul Reaver coming in now, trying to build towards that crit chance, but it's not enough just yet.
Yep, Beg's going to end up going down. Ormar will find himself having to build some more toys before he decides to deliver them to Gloria Waits, as he's going to have to sit and wait in the wayside. And with him down, that frontline tank for Immortals, it looks like an opportunity for them to be able to take Dark Slayer. You do still have a punish available onto the Crickneck if he decides to jump in and try to get one, but some great zoning out by the CLZ and the Omen. Bay as well. Tower defense turret in the bot lane. So a great effort for the members of Immortals to get that split push as much as possible. They're going to chase and try to do everything they can to stop these back timers. Meanwhile, you've got a beautiful effort on that bottom side. High ground turret goes down for the Zuka.
Yeah, and meanwhile, Violet wasn't able to stay alive, and 80's hero is still alive, eventually will go down, but probably survived way longer than he should have. But Bobo's been hiding behind enemy lines, doesn't get the stun.
2 for 2. You lose the Dark Slayer, but you gain 2 turrets in the bot lane, one of which is the high ground turret. Safe to say, Immortals comes out ahead.
Yeah, Immortals played that real well. They realized that they didn't need to steal the Dark Slayer. They just needed to stall and try to pick them off as they were exiting after taking a lot of damage from the Slayer himself. Really well played, and I think that's some split-second decision-making that only comes with the awareness and the map awareness and experience of knowing, all right, this is what's possible. This is what damage is left on that tower. Here's the timing that we have to wait for. But a lot of members on GAU still have that buff. So Immortals, now you have the time. You have 2 lanes pushing. Just be a little patient and just reposition for the next big objective.
There's no reason for them to be overzealous. There's no reason for them to over-aggress. As you said, they have themselves the lead, and this is now where the members of Gloria Waits are going to have to start shaking. They're going to have to start rallying the troops, because the defensive posturing that they are creating for themselves is going to be obliterated if they're not capable of pushing out those minion waves before Immortal starts crashing on those top turrets.
Yeah, we see Immortals just continuing to group as 4, and we do have X-Tiers on that loop. We're just split pushing, making sure the lanes get pushed out so that Omen doesn't suddenly be knocking on their door at their base. Immortals is waiting for an opportunity. This could go either way.
A big opportunity for Immortals to secure themselves the first victory. Nothing is more demoralizing than securing an undefeated streak in week number 1 and losing to the number 8 seed. But at the same time, it shows the prowess and the research that Gloria Waits has done. We've seen their response already in the early game, obviously making a couple, unfortunate decisions that has allowed them to do it. But here we go. Now is the time for Immortals to strike. Xtears finds himself a little bit too far in the front. He's going to go down to Preda, and just like that, multiple members go down. Glory awaits us. Are able to have a nice little rebuttal. The tower goes down, but lives are lost by the Immortals.
Yeah, Immortals, again, perhaps committing a bit too much, but you know what I think they're doing is they know they're on the clock anyway, right? Kriknak eventually tops off, and you're not able to keep up with the just bigger tanks and also the bigger carries on other teams. So as we start to see this, I think Immortals is just saying, listen, even if we take a loss, if we're trading off every time and we're already in the lead in terms of objectives, regardless of gold or anything else, we might be able to close this out early.
Yeah, but getting yourself caught out like that's not the way that you need to do it. Bobo is going to sit on a 40-second death timer as the lasso comes out and is going to be able to hit 80s here. He's not going to be able to blink away just enough. Jungle 20C is going to get that last hop down to be able to take him down indeed. And so it's going to be 2 mid turrets have been done and decided. High ground turret down in the mid lane.
Yeah, Glory awaits us. I think they're starting to smell that victory. So now it's the patience game for both sides. Neither team can get a little too happy too early. There's still quite a few resources left. I mean, most heroes are at max level, but not all, definitely not all, are at max build. So the gold is still going to matter a lot. You want to catch up because later on, this one single fight, if we're at this point in the game already at 16 minutes, could decide who's going to win the entire game.
One team fight separates victory from defeat for both of these teams. As you mentioned, we are at the stage where death timers are at 45 seconds plus. So when you go down, you are not going to be able to help your team for any capacity for a while. As I like the job by Immortals to give that might buff over to the side of Bobo, potentially give him a little bit more sticking power on the duels as he is pushing up the mid side. Remember, supers are coming down the mid and the bot lane for the side of Immortals, as only supers are going down the mid lane for the side of Gloria Waits. As again, looks like we're going to have our standoff on the top side.
Yeah, Violet's got all the core items she needs and a little bit extra cherry on top for that, kind of semi-burst sustained damage that Violet's able to put out with Tactical Fire, just weaving in and out and getting that Penta Power passive going off of the Armyards. She's going to be able to put out a lot of damage.
Beg is going to do a little bit of poke, force the members of Gloria Waits to rotate themselves around, but he's going to do himself a great job at getting out. Quite the tanky Viking Santa that you have at your disposal. Not too sure how intimidating Snowman Head and a Christmas tree are, but they're definitely something that's going to do just enough of a whop. Wonder Woman tries to get herself in a little bit of a scuffle. As again, Immortals are starting to slow play this. Just as I say that, they're going to get themselves a little piece of attack, and look at that damage.
You see that? Yeah, Violet's coming in strong. You're no longer able to tank that because even Beg has a lot of health, but not that much armor. I mean, pretty standard amount, but nothing that's going to get crazy and say, oh, my Violet needs to change her build, right? She's pretty happy with just a rank breaker because that's enough to break through the damage initially in the fight, and then whoever's left, she can finish off quite easily.
Immortals only sitting themselves up at about 1,000 gold lead. Are down in kills, but it is the objectives where they're severely shining. 25 seconds until the Dark Slayer spawns. Wouldn't be surprised if Immortals tries to stall this one out. While they obviously have an insane amount of damage, their carries pumping off an unbelievable amount of DPS, they are still respecting the power that sits behind the hands of Gloria Waits.
Yeah, they can't rush this Dark Slayer. They have to wait until both the middle and the bottom side lane are pushing at the enemy base. And if that's not doable, they just got to play the patience game. Kriknak trying to bring down the Preda, but doesn't get the kill.
Nope, but Preda is down to about 50% HP. 80's hero is going to take a lot of damage, and that's going to be Jungle 20C picking up that kill, and now the onslaught continues. Immortals is able to pick themselves up a kill. It's now a 1-for-1. The backline is being done upon IMT. Bobo is forced to help kite back with KZ Fox as he's about to go down. KZ Fox tries to get himself back in. Beg, meanwhile, picks up a kill onto the Omen. It's now a 3-for-3 in the favor of no one, but all the rather as Xtears is doing everything he can. Nice little lasso is able to pick up that kill, and just like that, it's going to be a 4-for-4 triple kill going in the hands of Gloria Waits us, but they come out alive.
Yeah, and Immortals, I mean, Xtears was kind of left alone, so Xtears had to pick up damage duty and go in. Thankfully, definitely one of the warriors that has been building a little bit more towards that hybrid damage build on the side of Immortals, so got the job done. KZ Fox, obviously the goal was not to die and just stall enough so that Wonder Woman is tempted to stay rather than try to run away or focus fire down the Lu Bu, eventually the lasso does hit, so KZ Fox has to be sacrificed to finish that kill. A little bit messy on both sides, right?
Yes.
It was an early pickoff by Jungle 20C and gets that immediate kill onto 80's Hero because 80's Hero couldn't go anywhere thanks to Omen's ult. But then Jungle 20C also caught in the middle of the jungle.
I like this decision, though, by Gloria Waitis. They know that KZ Fox has about 5 seconds left remaining, so they've decided to hard rush over to the Dark Slayer. However, 80's Hero and the rest of the Immortals have read this like a book and have decided to go back and make sure that they ward themselves out. This is probably the most important battle. The winner of this next fight is more or less going to end up winning this game because both cores are wide open for both of these teams. KZ Fox is going to be forced to go away. Oh no! 80's Hero gets himself caught up. That is not where you want to be, buddy. He's going to get ripped to shreds, and now the rest of the Immortals are going to have to follow suit. Bobo very low in the backline. Beg going to pick up the kill onto 20C, but is it enough for the side of Immortals? KZ Fox picking up the kill onto the Preda. Health bars are very low, but it doesn't matter because it's Immortals that are going to come out ahead. 80's Hero sacrifice him life, but he's going to be the 80's hero for the side of Immortals. They're going to be able to pick up that kill. 4 kills down, and just like that, KZ Fox is going to ignore the Wonder Woman and try to finish this game.
Yeah, just bringing the core down a little low. More minions are pushing it. Immortals should be able to wrap this up. 80's Hero, for a second, it looked like the greatest mistake Immortals could make, but also with these Medallions of Troy and the Ancestral Glories coming out, they knew their warriors could stay in the fight.
They stayed in the fight. They got themselves a victory, and the Immortals walk away with game number 1. It wasn't clean, but they got the job done.
It definitely wasn't clean, right? I mean, initially, all these kind of waiting and ambushes really worked out for their favor, but eventually, this is really where it started, right? Bobo got caught in the mid lane, and then suddenly Gloria Waitis started winning all these fights. You see the numbers on the kill score slowly creep up in favor of GAU.
But Gloria awaits us. Despite their valiant effort, they end up going down in game number 1 to the Immortals. But we saw this trend over in EU. These power teams, there are cracks that are starting to appear in their defenses, and Immortals did not win that game in stunning fashion.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with this strategy or this composition, but I think they need to make sure they've got a lot of other stuff ready because this is one of those, I think, compositions and picks that you're bringing out for game 1, and that's about it.
I also think that Immortals suffered from the classic case of overconfidence.
Probably.
I think that
a little bit.
I think that their aggression into the jungle, I think that they're super, the bloodlust took over. They wanted to secure the kills, but they didn't really go for the towers. It wasn't until they got themselves, a solid, 3 members down that they took those 3 turrets in the mid lane. But that was after about, 12 minutes into the game. It was the side of Gloria Waitis that said, okay, you're trying to go for kills. We're going to bide our time. We're going to wait. We're going to be the one to take the towers and really try to put you on that back foot.
Of course, Immortals' kind of knowledge and experience does shine through in the fact that they always made sure Preda was kept low. So Preda couldn't stick around in the fight. Maybe one blast and you have to run away. When that boomstick coming in early, Preda was starting to do a lot of damage, knocking down those warriors half health. As soon as they got a lot of health, they said, let's push him out of the fight. And if he comes back in, we're going to make sure we crowd control and finish him before there's an extended fight. That allowed them, I guess, to ignore Violet a little longer because you got rid of one carry and you're worrying about the other next.
Well, let's go ahead and take a look at the replay that I feel was the most exemplification of both of these teams. This is going to be that 4 for 4, and while it wasn't clean, both teams essentially got the job they wanted to get done.
Yeah, 80's Hero does try to just survive with that endure and does get to extend the fight a little bit. Lumber continues in to make sure the fight is secured for GAU's side, but look at this. X-Tier has just been left to his own device, and there it is. Goes back towards the top of the screen to make sure that Preda doesn't have a chance to jump back in. With Preda out and Lumber just going home, X-Tier is able to come back and just clean up duty for the rest of the team. It is unfortunate that, the other 3 warriors on the side of Immortals were all at very low health, but here you see KZ Fox also coming back. That's not because KZ Fox was necessarily being cocky, but it's to make sure that Wonder Woman stays so that X-Tiers gets the kill. Unfortunately, gets caught by the lasso.
Gets caught himself out, but again, it's a team effort. It's a valiant effort. Now, we're here in game number 2. We're going to get the bands underway. We have swapped the sides. Immortals is going to be taking out the red. Gloria Waitis is going to be taking up the blue. And, no surprise, L'Oreal taken right off the bat.
Yeah, L'Oreal, I mean, it's going to be weirder if we start seeing her in more games just because it's a pretty obvious ban, especially with the current hero pool. So I think L'Oreal ban is no big surprise here on the side of Gloria Waitis. And I think Gloria Waitis had some good ideas, right? Again, they were able to keep up, But I think something to note is that it's not because Gloria Waits was necessarily playing so exceptionally well. It's that both teams were playing a little bit messy.
Liliana being the next one taken away, a first ban for Immortals, wanting to make sure that they can, eliminate the possibilities that mage can create. So obviously this now reduces the pool. You've got Tulin available, a couple others. But the real question is, do you now ban the Violet away? Do you feel like the Violet was a factor? I know that we were skeptical about this over in Europe, but how does that translate over to North America?
I do think you need to worry about the Violet. I don't think she got as much shining time, but as soon as her full build was starting to come to fruition, you saw that if she wasn't intentionally jumping into the fight, she was going to stay in the back and do a lot of damage. It's really more because of the positioning of both teams that Immortals was able to take advantage of the fights they got. But I'd be a little worried. I think Jungle 20C, had a couple missteps, but there's also a high chance that Jungle 20C could carry a full game on his own.
Indeed. Teamy and then the illustrious Superman being taken off the table.
Surprise.
No surprise bans. But now we're down to the final ban. This is where things start to get spicy, and we have the potential for both of these teams to start potentially revealing some of their strategy as the Zeph is taken away.
Okay, so that's another aggressive hero, right? Aggressive warrior, aggressive roam, aggressive jungle. Wasn't picked up in game one, but eliminating some other factors. And of course, Gloria Waits does have that first pick, so maybe they're trying to break up this whole, 4 aggressive warrior composition that Immortals trying to come in, because then it's just team fights all around.
And look, it was a perfect recognition of that. Zephys is off the table, so what's the next pick? It's going to be that Ryoma. So Ryoma's taken off by the side of Immortals. Now you have these options if you're Gloria Waits. Do you decide to go for the Tulin? Do you take that out of the hands of 80s Hero? I don't think the Tulin was the X factor for their victory, but that is, the next best mage for that mid lane.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, 80s Hero did do a lot of damage, was just also caught out a bit. That composition, though, from Immortals, you have to look at the full picture, right? 4 warriors that are durable, that are in the front line. So even if 80s Heroes dies, I think in that fight we saw in the replay, very unfortunate, lots of damage lost, but also the endure and just time wasted, more or less, by 80s Heroes, what allowed Immortals to stay and X tiers to clean up. So we'll see. I don't know. I think the Violet might come out, though, for Gloria Waits.
I wouldn't be surprised if you have the Violet first pick. She's too strong. You also have a couple other options to play if they decide to go ahead and pick that Tulin over to the side of 80s Hero. You can go with Kali. You can go back with the Preda, which didn't do bad in the lane phase during the Tulin, of course, but the Teamy, a troll ban, obviously, he was banned already.
Yeah, for a second I was like, we forgot about Teamy. I was like, no, Teamy's banned.
But Wonder Woman, seeing as a first pick, they don't want to put the double, the Wonder Woman Lumbar potentially into the hands of Immortals.
Yeah, that's fair. Ooh, Max was left open this time with the Ryoma ban coming out. Tulin locked in and Max. So I'd love to see if Immortals is able to keep this up. Again, we haven't seen a lot of teams succeeding with Max, but we also see every team prioritizing him in the draft phase overall.
So, with the Max being picked up for the side of Immortals, that's going to allow for the Omen and the Lumbar. So you've got 2 very strong side lanes in the Wonder Woman as well as the Omen. Nice little roam around coming out of the Lumbar. So they have the front line, they've got the split push. Now they're going to have the damage to back it up.
Yeah, and we'll see how Immortals wraps this up. I mean, how are you going to utilize that Max ultimate? One of the caveats to something like a global ultimate is that you also have to make sure that you're prepped to utilize it, right? It forces both teams to kind of put the focus on that one skill. And so we see the Thane coming out, Lubu. I mean, those are pretty safe picks in any composition, right? They both have some good crowd control. Actually, both going in different ways as well, right? One's more for kind of removing and shuffling the fight, and one's to jump in and lock someone down.
Preda being picked up, no surprise there. Again, wasn't a bad effort in the mid lane. Obviously the Preda doing well against the Tulin. Kriknak being taken away, so that way the Immortals can't play it. And Zill, someone that we haven't really focused on at all, didn't get played once over on the European side, but definitely still has the possibilities of popping off with the aggressive Immortals playstyle.
Yeah, and I think the goal here is going to be if Zill catches Preda unguarded, that Preda's gone in an instant with the full combo. So they got to keep an eye on Zill. Zill does have to close the gap quite a bit, And I think that's one thing we have to watch out for is that Preda needs to be a little safer on the side of GAU.
Just
a little bit more distant.
Just a tad bit. But guys, we want to know what you guys are thinking about us home. Obviously, we've just started the North American broadcast here for the Valor Series. So head on over to Twitter, use the hashtag Valor Series, and let us know maybe who you think's going to win. Maybe you think how good Will's hair looks. Whatever it may be, let us know your thoughts. Those are going to be coming up on stream periodically. We've got Immortals coming up. They're up 1 game against Gloria Awaits Us, number 1 versus the number 8 seed. And your predictions on the line, my friend.
Yeah, well, Immortals, I'm still sticking with it. But, again, both teams a lot to learn. However, I think Immortals, they could ride it out in just this fashion for quite some time. And that could be a double-edged sword for them because they would get the wins, but it'd be messy. But they wouldn't really learn much from it because they're still getting the W. So I'm interested to see how they evolve as well, even if they remain at the top.
We took a look. Obviously, there's the back and forth on comparing EU to NA. We know the memes that occur, but we've seen some of the high-priority, high-power teams adapt off of a win and improve, and we're going to get to see if Immortals is going to do that as they are 1 game away from securing themselves into the semifinals. Immortals versus Gloria Awaits Us.
Yeah, so we'll see how this early game plays out once again. I mean, Immortals is still pretty poised to be aggressive in the jungle, right? I mean, you got the Lubu who can come to support quite often. Thane is going to be roaming around quite a bit, and Max just needs to hold his own. Gloria Awaits Us this time, starting with the aggression, but spotted a little too early, so it looks like it just might be a trade-off on either side of the jungle.
And so now we're finally going to get to see what sort of aggression Immortals wants to employ. We know that they're an extremely aggressive early game team, trying to see if they can psych themselves the Might Golem. They're going to do just that. The roam over by 80's Heroes as well to get that preliminary ward off to say, hey, look, we're here. This buff is ours.
Yeah, that was a really smart play because Gloria Awaits Us was also being wise enough to say, hey, maybe we can go contest it until Cricknat comes, or maybe they back off and leave the buff there. But eventually everything's going to even out. They basically traded sides a little bit. And I would say initially Immortals looked like they were going to be delayed slightly, but not so much. And now Immortals starts to roam around the map as they wish.
And this is where we're going to get to see how long Immortals continues to employ this bloodlust strategy, because it didn't work out for them too well in the beginning of game number 1, trying to see if they can clean themselves up a little bit more here in game number 2. Taking a look across at the talents that we have for the side of Gloria Awaits Us and Immortals. Super simple, super basic, only 1 punish on each side. So, they're only going to have those 1 junglers to really help themselves out.
Yeah, and I think what Immortals is starting to realize is that, this composition doesn't have as many easy targets. Sure, early game, everyone's relatively squishy, but there's no Violet that you're really trying to scare off. So both teams pretty comfortable in a standoff. Immortals gets the Sentinel. Do they have enough time to come back for the Dragon?
They're trying to get themselves rotated around. You can see KZ Fox coming down on that Zill, and this is where the power of the Immortals early game composition is going to take over. It's knockup after knockup, and first blood goes over to KZ Fox. They're going to be able to ward off the remaining member. Jungle 20C is going to go down, but he is going to walk away with the Abyssal Dragon.
Yeah, that was a save more than anything in that fight for GAU. If they didn't get that Dragon as well, this gap was going to get too big right around 2 minutes, and that's way too early in the game to start writing yourself off. So getting the Dragon allows them to have a shot at keeping up. They are still distinctly behind, but Immortals, I want to say Beg played that perfectly in terms of timing. Zill came down and just to hit that range, pushes everyone out and stuns them.
And so it was, while the Immortals walked away with the kills in their favor, it was still Gloria Awaits Us that walks away with that nice little Abyssal Dragon victory, which is going to, give a little gold, give a little XP, maybe a little love in the process, as KZ Fox and the rest of his team are going to try to get themselves jungled up. But the jungled up is now Jungle 20C, stealing away a little bit of the jungle. Bobo is going to find himself in a very difficult position, but here comes the team to help themselves out. Beg's going to get himself a 3-man knockup. Is he going to be able to get enough to get away? No, he's not, as Bay picks up that kill. So great effort by Gloria Awaits Us to continue to put themselves on the board.
Yeah, and we saw this in game 1 as well, right? They are pretty good about keeping up and getting these counter attacks just in a big picture form, not in one fight, but saying, all right, you attacked us, now we're going to hit your weak point. And this forces Immortals to reset just a little bit, but it's not enough to catch up yet. And we saw that in game 1. It looked like they had so many chances to catch up and then keep the lead, but they weren't able to do so. We'll see if they can change that here in game 2.
We know that the Immortals are not scared to scrap, even if it isn't in their most efficient of favors. as they are still up about 1,000 gold, down one Abyssal Dragon, which is going to be spawning in 10 seconds. So now we're going to get to see their next level of posturing. Meanwhile, on the top side of the map, it's the eternal struggle of Max. Whether do I teleport to the bot lane to help out my team and allow this Omen to split push, or do I sit in the wayside and hope that my team can win a 4v4?
Yeah, we'll see how this plays out. I mean, ideally, right now, Max doesn't feel the need to have to come down with the ultimate. But again, if need be, it is there. Omen will be able to start to push in and take towers, though, if Max doesn't watch out. So this is going to be a tough choice. Like you said, Immortals is just trying to buy some time and stall. Maybe they're trying to go for a kill.
Potentially so. Jungle 20C tries to wade off X tiers, but now you're going to have the multiple knockups by both of these team members. Here's where the big scuffle is going to happen. And look, there's the cross map from the Max that we were potentially talking about. Catches himself under the turn. He's got a nice little lunge to be able to pick up that kill onto Bay. And this is where Immortals is going to have to make a decision. They need to hurry up and decide, are we going to push? Are we going to take the Abyssal? Or what are we going to do? Because Omen is in the top side of the map, and he is not scared about taking those turrets.
Yeah, Max is frantically trying to get back to lane, but this tower is already pretty low. Omen should be able to clean it up. So now you start to wonder, it was a good ultimate. It was well-timed, it was well-positioned, but was it worth it? Especially with GAU poising for this dragon, can they get it?
Not sure if they're going to be able to have it.
No, Immortals takes it.
Yep, Jungle 20C not able to get the 2 for 2. He's going to go down 2 X tiers, as well as the Dragon going in favor of Immortals. So they have tied themselves up and extended that gold lead to about about 2,000.
Yeah, so Immortals still keeping the leads they need with the right movement. They did lose that tower. That first one, sure, you can say it's a free pass, but going from here on out, I would say they need to wait until they get that outer tower first before they can start making aggressive plays with Max once again, because otherwise, Omen gets the inner tower, and then gets the high ground tower, and then gets the core.
And your base is dead, and you lose, and you cry, and you're just very sad, Panda.
So gotta watch out. GAU just trying to keep up, trying to do what they can to get individual gold back up. This is the other thing we've noticed. Uh-oh, 80's here actually caught out a little bit.
Gonna be able to get himself a couple little blinks and moves away as he's gonna be able to get himself out of there. That mobility of 80's Hero 2 ability provides so much extra resources for him and the rest of his team. Wouldn't you like to be able to just teleport every 3 seconds?
That'd be amazing. I think I would just have too much fun with it and then forget that it's actually useful other than just having fun on my own, just blinking back and forth.
If you could teleport one place short distance in your house at any point in time, what it would be? I'd probably the kitchen. That'd probably be my vote.
Oh, it'd be the bed.
The bed?
Yeah.
Just
off
I'm
of my
here
computer
for
into
bed.
the bed.
I'm getting tired of bed.
There you go.
We're at just over the 7-minute mark now in Immortals. They do have themselves a much more commanding lead than they did at this point in time in the earlier match, but that does not discount the fact that Gloria Waits us is not scared to scuffle, which creates a lot of opportunity. We're only week 2 of 6, Trober. Remember that. There are plenty of opportunities for Gloria Waits us too, even if they lose this match, to find themselves up against the juggernauts of Immortals or maybe another team in North America. And the fact that they are unwavering in their desire to fight and they're not scared and they don't back down to the Immortals' aggression speaks leaps and bounds of this new team.
Yeah, but Immortals now starting to get their core items that's giving them a lot of durability. So GAU has to watch out for this. Immortals is also going to secure another dragon. That gold continues to expand. Bobo goes down. How much of an impact does it have, though? Because the dragon has already been taken by Immortals.
Immortals have continued on their efficient jungle routes. The timings that KZ Fox is rallying his team around have been spectacular, both in week 1 as well here in the earlier stages of week number 2. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, this is the quarterfinals, only 1 of 4 that we have for you here in North America today. Obviously, the first one here being Immortals versus Gloria Waits us.
Yeah, so Bobo did go down, but obviously got that outer tower in the top side lane. Immortals getting a little aggressive. They recognize this, and we saw this in game 1. It's about time that they clear out all the outer towers. Otherwise, they can't continue that aggression because they can't walk in the enemy territory as freely.
We do also have to give a lot of credit over to Bobo. The worry of Max is something that we have been quite skeptical of. Both myself, you, Suijay, and Enviram on this desk multiple times. But a very solid effort by Bobo in the earlier stages. He's only had to use that ultimate once and did a really good job helping his team, securing kills, and only losing 1 tower in the process.
Yeah, and if you're having Omen have to call a teammate to help take you down, you're creating enough space, because Omen's job is to take someone else down and create that distraction in reverse. So while perhaps not utilizing every skill set that Max has ideally, I would say doing still a good job. Bobo actually dives in a little too early. Can Immortals catch up?
He is, but the rest of his team is going to be able to help themselves out, as now Jungle 20C is going to find himself dead. Jungle 20C, as he's going to go down right to the gray screen, as the members of Immortals are going to continue their push onto the bot side. Abyssal Dragon coming up in 13 seconds. They're going to have clear control again of this Gloria Waits' jungle.
Yeah, Jungle 20C on that Crate Net goes down, is going to be up just right after the Abyssal Dragon spawns, and it looks like Immortals isn't going to have time to position for it now. So this should be a fair fight, unless we see the Zill going for it on his own first. Should be doable, but no one's contesting from Gloria Waits. I think this is an opportunity missed.
I don't think the members of Gloria Waits really want to worry about this too much, as they know that they cannot fight the lead that Immortals has. You take a look at the stat lines that we've got. 1-0-4 for X tiers. You know, one of the unsung heroes of this match has played Lubu now twice in a row, and consistency is sometimes the unsung, domination for your team.
Yeah, I mean, we saw it with Ryoma multiple times, and we're seeing it with Lubu, where you might not be the craziest scoreline, but, you don't give away deaths. You're still cleaning up the kills you need to, and you're basically having a presence every fight rather than having some great fights and then ones where you're picked off first.
As now you're going to have Bay trying to get himself a little bit of a knock-up, trying to help his Preda, but the big sword of Beg is going to be able to come down and just absolutely demolish him. Rocks turn to dust. Bay goes down, CLZ as well. And now Immortals trying to clean up their messy act from game number 1.
Yeah, you got to watch out for that Thane ultimate. You always forget because he's just shoving you around and knocking you out, and then you remember, oh yeah, he's just going to sweep and take out anyone in his way. Now Darkslayer poised for Immortals. Gloria Waits wants to do something, but they can't. The best they can do now is 9/11 just trying to push down this side lane. As she's already there, she's going to be too late to join, but I don't know if she's going to be able to take the tower.
Just over 11 minutes into the game, Immortals definitely slow rolling. We saw their kill-hungry, aggressive jungle control in the earlier stages of the game. Hasn't quite yet been enough to secure themselves too many towers. However, the objectives have continued to push through. The Darkslayer buff obviously helping them a little bit more in this pushing power. The outer ring has been completed by the Immortals, and now is the ultimate decision of which lane do they want to start taking these inner turrets first.
Yeah, we're seeing everyone start to kind of hit their power spikes in terms of items. And we do see that Zill coming strong. Oh, CLZ got cut out.
And just like that, the Omen spells Omen of Death for himself and KZ Fox. Look at that burst damage, but Bobo in the meanwhile, he's going to rock'em sock'em robot that man to death. Meanwhile, they're going to be able to get themselves a bottom turret, and this is where the onslaught of Immortals has begun.
Well played by everyone, but especially Bobo. We talked about that timing from the ultimate being a little difficult. Bobo had the right idea. They forced everyone from GAU to come bot side first, and then Bobo came in crashing and catching people off as they're trying to retreat. Immortals knows they have the lead. They know they need to close it out, and this is when a lot of these heroes start to shine.
I get it. This is how Max is supposed to be played. The power and the sticking potential that he has at his disposal create leaps and bounds of advantages for the Immortals, as they have secured themselves not only 1, but 2 high ground turrets and a couple kills to match. Bay is going to go down, as well as the other members of Glory awaits us, and just like that, it was the slow roll, it was the wait, it was the patience, but Immortals finally got, and their name said 2-0 over Glory awaits us.
Yeah, and this was the type of win you want to see and you expect to see from Immortals. Just non-stop aggression that continues to give them a lead rather than going back and forth. A big part of it, I really think it was Bobo on that Max.
Bobo's Max showed up huge in game number 2. You can't discount KZ Fox as well on the jungle pressure that they created, but it was a final recognition of Immortals that, okay, we have the lead, we can push if we want, but let's find an opportunity to catch out even just one of the members of GAU. They did just that, and as a result, it was 1, 2, 3, 4 turrets and a core, and they walk away with the 2-0 sweep.
Yeah,